But he's a bigger fool than he realizes if he thinks old Plankton is gonna take this one lying down.
Oh. Greasy Bafoons. That's what the episode's called. From season 7 of SpongeBob. An episode I had watched before. I actually made a video on a while ago, but it's no longer uploaded because it's time to make a better one. I'm going to summarize the episode, and hopefully you'll be entertained by that. Hopefully you'll enjoy the summary. But there is an important aspect of the episode, an important lesson to be learned that I hope you'll stick around for. So without further ado, welcome back to the Stoic Sponge, Lessons from SpongeBob, rooted in biblical and Stoic principles. How about that? The episode opens with Mr. Krabs realizing a great opportunity. You know what? Backing up, because I skipped what actually happens in the intro. The grease trap at the Krusty Krab is overflowing, and so they have to, I guess, get rid of the grease. And what better place to drop off the grease than at your business rival's property? So SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs load up the grease, and SpongeBob's like, where are we supposed to drop this off at? And Mr. Krabs like, say right over here. No specific reason why, just over here. And so they completely, what's a word for like making something dirty? I don't know. They dump out the grease is what I'm trying to say. Around the chum bucket, and I appreciate SpongeBob's awareness. He's like, was that legal? And Krabs, like, it didn't even occur to him that the concept of legality is legal. What are you talking about? Come the next day, and Plankton, who I guess he has the strength proportions of like an ant because he's carrying a massive trash bin when he's like the size of, well, a plankton. And so he slips on the grease. And he's like, man, this looks horrible. It smells horrible, but it tastes great. And so he begins to sell. I don't even remember what the initial like dish, if you could even call it that, was, but it was probably like a greasy chum burger or something like that, which if fish are going to eat a greasy chum burger, they're more far gone than I thought. Bro, I have nothing good to say about the citizens of Bikini Bottom, but that's like, this is a new low for them, and that is a steep place to fall for like, you didn't think Bikini Bottom citizens could get any lower, but in any case, they're eating the chum burgers, and Krabs is like, oh yeah, well, two can play that game. SpongeBob, scrape off the grease from one of the patties onto another one and make it a greasy patty. And so then the customers go to the Krusty Krab. Then Plankton makes another grease dish. You know what? I'm actually determined to figure out exactly what it was. Hang on. Greasy Bafoons Gallery. Yeah, so then Plankton makes chummy patties. Like I said, I can't even remember what he made initially, but then in response to Krabs' greasy Krabby Patties, squid. What am I talking about? Oh my gosh. Plankton makes as I said, greasy, chummy patties. And then Krabs goes to the kitchen area, and it's like there's grease everywhere because of how much they're using, to which he realizes there's like buns on the floor that are covered in grease, and SpongeBob's like, oh, sorry about that. Those have probably been soaked in grease for like an hour. And sure enough, Mr. Krabs like, oh, great idea. I'm not even gonna say what the word, like what they ended up calling the bread, the buns, if you will. And in response to Krabs' food, Plankton yet again, crispity crunchities. That was his next idea. It was literally just deep fried grease. So I thought that it couldn't get any like cheap than that. But Mr. Krabs, not to be outdone by Mr. Krabs. It's interesting that when you say not to be outdone by, you mean precisely to be outdone by, which I've always thought is fascinating. But in any case, Mr. Krabs, wow soup. That's what he called it. Literally grease on a plate. SpongeBob, he realizes how insane this is getting, and he's like, Krabs, I don't think this is healthy. Oh, and I love what Krabs says. He's like, SpongeBob's like, don't you think we should, be concerned with health detriments that giving grease to people is causing. And Crab's like, you know what I think you should be thinking about? You should be thinking about not thinking and getting back to work, Buster. Boyo, probably is what he said. Yeah, which is pretty funny. But then Patrick comes in and is completely like, he falls over due to having so much grease. Even saying that's like so bad, so gross. SpongeBob, he does the right thing. He calls the health inspector. It gets to a point where loyalty is a good thing, absolutely. And I don't think that honesty is contrary to loyalty. It's like your loyalty should be built on a foundation of virtue and both of you pursuing virtue. And if one of you get off track from that, you're doing your friend a service by, this is bad and you're not gonna, we are on the verge of, I don't want to say killing people. Okay, you know what? I'll say this. We're on the verge of like majorly being this is a detriment to people's health to a greater extent than we've ever partaken in, given we're given fast food. Because now we're just giving people grease. You're not going to stop doing this. This is bad for you in terms of your character. So I'm gonna call some type of authority to shut this down, and that's exactly what he does. The health inspector arrives in his full hazmat getup, and I love this scene. SpongeBob, he tries to tell the health inspector what was going on. He's like, they've been feeding people. And then they keep, Mr. Krabs and Plankton keep, like, grabbing him and throwing him and hitting him out of the way.
They've been feeding people. They've been feeding people. They've been feeding people.
What's going on here?
Nothing, Mr. Inspector.
They've been feeding people. They're feeding people grease.
And the health inspector's like, just as I thought. I thought I recognized that stench. Well, I'm going to shut you both down until you get this grease cleaned the heck up. That's exactly what he said. So SpongeBob, I'm kidding. Mr. Krabs is like, man, there's not much hope for us now because this whole place is covered in grease. But SpongeBob, and this is why SpongeBob is a true friend. I mean, it is one thing to kind of, and I don't want to say, again, because SpongeBob did the right thing, so I don't want to say rat out, but it is one thing if he's like, yeah, they're doing something wrong. I'm just going to go have a field day in literally a field day in Jellyfish Fields while they figure this out. But it's like, no. I work here, and this is my friend, Mr. Krabs, so I'm going to help him, once he realizes, whether by his own revelation or by someone making him realize that this is wrong and it can't be done, he's realized that, and now I'm going to help him fix it. And that's what he did. He's a sponge after all, so he soaked up the grease to clean up the Krusty Krab, which didn't stop Patrick from quote unquote needing more grease. Oh my gosh, that's so, like I said, that's disgusting to even say that. This is a pretty bizarre episode, but the idea that I wanted to get at was it's obviously wrong to have been feeding people just straight up grease, but Mr. Krabs and Plankton both saw it as a way to get ahead. It's certainly something that's cheaper because grease is something you usually throw out, right? It's cheaper, it's easier to do, and there was no concern at all for the detriment of doing said thing. You can't sacrifice your character on the grounds of trying to get ahead in one way or another. I love the way that Jordan Peterson describes it. It's like, you think that you can get away with doing wrong. It's like, no. You might temporarily get what you're seeking, but it is going to come back to bite you. There is no getting away. It's a biblical idea. You reap what you sow. And if for those that don't believe the word, they do have some concept of karma. So there is, like, you can just look around, and even from your own experiences, I'm guessing, notice that this is the case. You reap what you sow. It also talks a lot in the word about, I think in Proverbs mostly, like someone who lays a trap, in fact, ends up laying a trap for themselves. Again, it's like there's these rules of, I don't know if morality would be the right word for it, but there's just these these virtuous rules at play that have always been at play that you can try to get around them, but you won't. Just like Mr. Krabs and Plankton, their restaurants got shut down on account of them doing this. This, as I said, this very cheap and, well, selfish, ill-gotten gain. There you go. So yeah, I guess cutting corners is another way to describe it. It doesn't work with anything. You talk about, and I've probably brought up fitness a lot on the channel, but it's a common example. So it's hopefully easier to follow. You can't cut corners. Like you will not get the results you want if you cut corners. Like, oh, well, I'm sure that I don't actually have to eat whole foods, or I'm sure I don't actually have to go to the gym this many like it's probably just, but it's like, no. You, again, I bring that up because that's a very useful example in that you can see the physical results of it and feel it and what have you. It's like cutting corners both with something like that, but as well, even maybe probably to a greater extent in regards to virtue and character, it doesn't work. Not only does it not work, but this actually touches on another episode that I talked about recently. Well, I don't think it's in a video, but I've been thinking about it. It's called The Paper. It's where SpongeBob, he wants Squidward's gum wrapper, and he ends up using it. He has I'll use the term again, he has a field day, like an absolute blast with it, having a great time. Squidward notices this, and by the end of the episode, he's given up everything for a piece of paper. And it's like, wait. Did you get, how, and this happens to everyone, it's happened to me, you get so lost in the pursuit of the one thing, you get tunnel vision and you forget about all the other things that are important. Not only other things, but you forget that being aligned with virtue, with character, with God, which is all interconnected, that was the goal to begin with. And you fell off track in your pursuit of something as insignificant as a paper. Like, even in regards to business, it's like, how much money do you really need? Like, and this isn't like a, because there's kind of this notion of like, if you have a lot of money, you somehow are guilty of some wrongdoing. It's like, no, I'm not saying that at all. But like I said, it gets to a point where it's like, okay, your needs are met, you have more than enough money if there was some emergency expense, and now you're selling people grease to make more money. What are we talking about? So anyway, so yeah, if in some regard you've become misaligned in your pursuit of the one thing, forgetting to do it in a virtuous way, then realign yourself today. Acknowledge what you've done. The wisdom of the sensible is to understand their way. So consider what's happened, both by your actions and psychologically, what have you, all of those things, and realign yourself if need be. And if you are aligned, then continue on that path, and I salute you. In other words, stop feeding people grease. Yeah, that's probably not something you would have thought you would hear ever, but here we are. Well, I hope the lesson makes sense, and I sincerely hope that it helps you, so apply it today and wherever and whenever applicable. Any thoughts you have on the video, the episode, the topic, or if you just want to say hi, comment down below. I look forward to hearing from you and responding. If you did get something out of this video, then you're certainly going to love the rest of the videos in the series, so do click the playlist right over here to check out any and or all the videos in the playlist, because as I said, they're meant to help you, but I hope they're entertaining as well, so check them out. If you don't know Christ, there's no better day to begin a relationship with him than today. It says in the Word that if you confess with your mouth Jesus as Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, then you will be saved. There's no better decision you can make than that. Remember to treat others the way that you want to be treated, to love God and to love your neighbor, and therefore you will be your best self. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and as always, it's an honor.